You found us. What about this idea?
Gotta listen to this show. Why?
Because it's about the hearts and minds of entrepreneurs.
Oh, nailed it.
I didn't even look at the wall.
Nailed it.
I didn't even look at the
All
wall.
right, listen, honestly, this is a show. It's different than other shows about entrepreneurship.
It's real. It's real. Real stories.
Is it?
We tend to talk very real.
I love
And
it.
so do our guests. So come have fun with us.
Welcome to What About This Idea?
Couch edition.
This is our sort of testing out new equipment,
Yep.
new ideas, showing some of the versatility of DevineFox Productions.
Exactly.
I mean, look at how riveting
It is riveting. I
our
mean,
space.
we got ourselves a black leather couch. We're actually in our office.
We are.
We thought we'd try as if we were doing a remote podcast.
A little bit like some of our internal communications
Exactly.
stuff. Yep.
So we've got our remote mics, which are pretty, I feel like, beaming me up.
Oh, I'm sure that doesn't make any noise.
No,
in
it
there.
doesn't.
I
AJ,
can't
sorry
imagine.
about this. Okay.
Can't imagine why pounding on your microphone might make a little, it might be frowned upon.
I know, but it does seem very Star Trekky.
Yeah, it does, but it works.
It's amazing. I mean, we started this whole podcast with like giant headphones, and I needed the coolest ones, and then I wanted the red microphone, and like I need to have all the cool stuff.
Do you know this about yourself?
And then now we're not even using it.
No. I mean, it still gets used in the studio.
I know, I like it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to have a microphone because it makes me feel like a rock star.
So we're going to put in a little plug for our Swedish or Finnish, I forget.
I think it's Swedish
Could be,
or Finnish.
or could be Norwegian.
Oh, this is not a plug.
Oh, man.
If you don't know, it's not a plug.
I'm terrible. But anyway, no monos, or maybe they pronounce it differently than that. No monos.
No manos.
That is what it means. But anyway, this is their little sound unit.
Yeah, we've been really impressed.
Super impressed. In fact, I spoke with one of the, I believe one of the founders the other day. What was his name? Darn it. It's a great name,
Let me
too.
guess. Hans.
No, but it's something.
Sven.
It's along that lines. It was great. It's a great one. I'll look it up. I'm really sorry. I can't remember names. Never.
Can't remember names. Can't remember what country you're in. Doesn't know how to pronounce your product. But this is a plug for you, my friends.
You're the best. Actually,
We'll put it on the screen.
can
AJ,
you tell we don't rehearse?
AJ, if we didn't tell you what these were, just put
Yeah.
it on the screen so that we can do a plug for them, because we have been talking it up. It's very space age.
Yeah. It's different. It allows us the ability to go into places and do shows, and we don't have to carry all the big mics and whatnot.
I know, and actually this feels more like a conversation, right? This feels like...
It changes the way it feels, doesn't it?
It changes the way, I don't know, it changes the way that we interact, right? It's just like we're having a conversation.
Yep.
It's, although we could probably reveal a few secrets and not really understand that we're doing that because we don't have all the...
You mean secrets that our competitors might steal?
Well, we do have some secrets that are not about business. But, I mean...
Oh, I have no idea what that means.
I have a ton of secrets.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is this the proper venue for revealing
That's
of
what I'm
this?
saying. Like, if I was just sitting on the couch, maybe I'd tell you my secrets.
Gotcha.
But if I have earphones and a giant microphone in front of me, I'd be less apt to. It's
more businessy.
There'd be a symbol that I should not. That this is all being recorded.
Right.
Right.
No, this is way more cash.
It's super more cash.
Yeah.
You know what we need? We need like a puppy.
Wait a minute. Will the cleaners care for the puppy? Like, let me get this straight. You mean just like a little studio puppy?
A little studio
that
puppy.
just hangs out at the studio and probably one that never grows, right? Is what you?
Oh no, it can't not be a puppy.
It's always got to be a puppy.
It's always got to be a puppy.
I think this is a great idea.
I should bring my kitty down here. Bring my kitty to the studio.
I mean, you could. Cats are different than dogs, though.
Yeah,
way different.
They are different.
This is another conversation I was having with Rennie today because my cat jumped up on my lap while I was conducting work this morning.
Yeah.
And the cat just recently, the cat, came to us. I had been opposed to a cat for a long time.
Why?
Because when I first got married, we had 2 cats. My wife had 2 cats. I didn't have 2 cats. And cats are great, but man, they live forever. They live a really, really long time. So
this is really showing your loving and compassionate
but
side.
I really did love those 2 cats. But I also liked furniture that didn't have hair all over it all the time. And I liked not having a cat trying to steal my soul at night while I was in bed, where it's sitting there looking at your face and it's inches away and you wake up and you're like, what the H are you doing?
You know what?
Right in your face, looking at you I'm just checking you out, man.
No, they're not. You know what they're doing? They're concerned for you because cats don't sleep very deeply. And so you're so asleep.
What?
And that's exactly what it is. Listen, I watch a lot of cat TikToks.
I watch a lot of things about witches. They steal souls at night while you're sleeping. I'm just saying. Plus,
they do not steal souls. I love cats and dogs equally.
Do you?
I really do. Yeah. I love cats and dogs equally. I don't think I have a cat person or a dog person in me. I love them both, right? I don't actually own either one.
No, you just care for other people's.
Yeah, I care for other people's.
But I was telling Rennie, a cat, the difference mostly between, fundamental difference between cats and dogs. You do something to upset or not intentionally or purposefully or something, but you accidentally do something to not harm, badly, but
you step on their paw.
Yes, you kick the dog accidentally as you're walking, it gets in front of you, whatever. You do something and the dog looks up at you and the cat looks at you oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you later.
Exactly.
They're just
isn't
very,
that the
very
way it
different.
should be?
I don't know, but they're very different that way. One, and Rennie was telling me a funny story. When they're mad at you, they'll go do their business in the litter box, and then they purposefully come over and they're meow, and they touch your face and they're I love you, but really they're just getting back at you because
this is quite a perception of cats.
Well, I do love the cat though, but anyway, the reason it was funny was because the cat just got a lion's cut. Have you seen the lion's cut? Yeah. Ooh, man.
Why? Was it all matted?
So cute. Yeah, well, the cat came to us. It was just this teeny tiny little
ball of fur,
and it was so cute. And then it got a little bigger, and it was still super cute. But its fur was all long and had the super long whiskers. And then one day the cat got kind of big, and I'm not saying bad big. I'm just saying a little bit overweight. I don't like to talk about the cat that way.
Why are you whispering?
Because I don't want the cat to hear. I don't want the cat to feel bad about the whole thing. The kids are always "You're fat," and I'm don't call the kitty fat.
That's true. A cat's like a crow. Crows don't forget.
Yeah.
You see a crow in your yard, you say, "Hey, crow, looking good today." You say nice things to a crow because the crows, they remember.
Yes, just like cats steal souls. So evidently when we do the couch sessions,
we just go off on a tangent. I think this is great. Can you imagine this in a CEO's office?
Yes, I can.
With a couple of people that
maybe staged slightly nicer.
Because
we just threw this together.
Yeah, that's right.
They're proper CEOs.
Yeah, and they would have we have good lighting, but not great lighting, right?
Right. And they have a lifetime's worth of fancy office stuff that they've carried with them from their one fancy job to the other fancy job.
Decanters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what swords from different
Swords
countries.
from different countries.
Yeah, that they
That's a
put up
good
on the wall.
point.
Yep.
Yeah, and pictures of their
We're
family.
assuming, obviously, we're painting a picture of like some sort of, late middle-aged kind of male CEO. What is the female? I mean, maybe it's all the same stuff, but I'm thinking
seems
probably
very
not so many
similar.
swords. I feel like the dudes are
I feel
swords.
like that I say this, and I am a CEO, but not in the one
Yes.
that we're talking about. But I feel like I've always wanted to create an environment in my office that is inviting to other people.
Yeah.
I feel like traditionally male CEOs have wanted to create an office that's a bit intimidating.
That says,
to
I dominate people.
I'm in charge here.
Yeah. That's
Right?
why you have swords. And then they're like, this is real. And they cut their, just like cut something really fast. It's super, super extra sharp. They're like, this is 3,000 years old.
You know what would be a perfect environment to do this in?
What would that
Would be Anna Wintour's office.
Who?
The editor of Vogue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have known, but I don't. Yeah. Anna Wintour?
Anna Wintour.
Okay. Vogue is Vogue a sponsor?
So the movie The Devil Wears Prada was
loosely based on her.
based on Anna Wintour. She's
Okay.
not known. I mean, she's known for understanding fashion and knowing that business and knowing that industry, and like without doubt, she's the best.
Yep.
She's got her way about her that might not be as soft as some people.
Right. That's a super polite. We still got Vogue. I mean, potentially.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But okay, so let's talk about this. So this is our thinking. It's like I love this. We're like pontificating in front of our fans and maybe getting their input. So we have been thinking, and we are launching an internal communications podcast service.
Internal communications arm of the DevineFox Productions company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that is really, I keep saying that we really haven't put our finger on what our values are for
I
this
thought you were
company.
going scaffolding.
I wasn't going to say it, but our value is really being human oriented.
Absolutely.
And like for DevineFox, we have 8 or so podcasts underneath them. One of them is This Side of the Grass by
Yep.
Val Amson.
Yep.
And Val is like the perfect example.
She's kind of killing it. I mean, she
She's
really
killing
is.
it.
She's crushing it with
But
it.
she was so reluctant. How many times
I
did
know.
she cancel before she came in? And so it's like we gave voice to her. We didn't give it to her. We created an environment.
Thank you for pulling back on that.
Yeah,
one.
we created an environment in which she felt comfortable
Yeah.
using her voice.
Yep.
And so when I think about internal communications, I think about us going into businesses and really stepping it up. We were talking a little bit earlier about the federal government just
the
took
non-compete.
away non-competes, and
I thought that was a really cool move on their part.
I think it's really interesting, right?
I mean, when do they ever do anything? Like when? No, I mean, it
is
just
that a
seems
full stop sentence?
kind of. It just seems like there's so much dysfunction there, and I had no idea that there was some fight over this. But it makes perfect sense. Like you can't hamstring people and keep them from getting another job in that same industry. Like that's just not good for anyone. Who does that help?
It's true, and it was always hard to litigate that anyway.
Yeah,
it was
right.
always the courts would tend to go to the employee. I mean, they need to make a living.
Yeah,
right?
like
And
what
this
are you
is what they
supposed to
now
do?
know.
And you go, it's like you go somewhere and you get a job and they're like, here, sign all this crap, and you're like, okay, I didn't actually read all of that, like,
Right.
and then you get out of that company and they're like, you can't go work for anybody in the industry.
Yeah,
Like-
it's not even possible anymore, which
No.
I think creates an interesting impact for companies. And I was reading an article, and I think it was in the Human Resource magazine that was talking about what's the next wave and trends.
You didn't.
Of
Sorry,
companies.
I know I interrupt all the time, but you didn't see the look I gave you. Like you were reading Human Resources.
I was, because in my other business,
God,
I'm
sounds
part of that
fun.
team, right?
That sounds fun.
I
Yeah,
add
I get
value
it.
to that team
I get
in my
it.
other business. Okay, so
Just saying, that's a page turner.
it really is for me Okay, so what they were saying was, I was looking for the trends. Like, what's the next iteration of human resources? And I know that sounds boring, but what was interesting to me was that they're going to double down on internal advancements, internal professional development, internal culture creation. And I think that really kind of inspired us, right? About this internal communications piece. You know, especially if you're a company that's doing a bunch of acquisitions, so you have like several cultures coming together, or you're a manufacturing company with plants all over the United States or even the world, right? Where you really don't know what's going on in those other places. And so if we're saying that DevineFox Productions tends to be a human-centered.
I completely agree with this, yes.
I love that we can offer a service where we come in and really introduce each other.
I mean, it's like a central part of your life. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like, we've only known each other less than a year, right? But like, all you do all day long is communicate with people. And all you do is, like, if you see it from my perspective, right?
Yeah.
Your entire business, Avid Edge, is about understanding the culture of a company.
Yes.
Then they've requested from you that you find someone to fill a position. Like, there's a lot of executive search outfits out there, right? But what you do is you first figure out their culture. Then you find the right person who will work within their culture, not just for their technical merit or whatever, but for the cultural part of it.
Yeah.
And then you provide resources for them to remain in that culture and thrive in that culture rather than, you know, flounder because they're having a hard time like getting in. Yeah.
Right.
And so, and you know, I used to work at this. I'm just kidding. No, but it's true. It's true. The difference, the reason culture is the bigger part of it for me is because there's always going to be another business that is pretty damn similar to yours. Like, there's always going to be another one that's pretty much like it. What differentiates one from another is almost exclusively culture at some point. You know, like, you might have the same offerings, but the more you inculcate some sort of the culture you want into that company, the better, the stronger your company is.
And there's so many ways to learn about that, right? So I also see this internal communications piece to be a learning tool for the company.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like how people are communicating to each other and about themselves.
You might figure out things that you're missing. They're like, whoa, Steve, I didn't know you thought that.
Yeah, I didn't know you thought that. Or I didn't know your kid was an Olympic star.
Right.
Or I didn't know that you have 3 kids, handicapped kids at home.
Yeah.
Or that you are a foster care place.
Right.
You know, I know it's hard to do when you have 5,000 employees or you even have 300 or 400 employees.
Right.
But this is that human approach. And people need to be heard and listened to. And in a sense, if you're going to be if you're growing your culture in a company and you're hoping to keep people there, they want to be heard. They want to be recognized. They want to be noticed. They want to know that who they are fits that culture.
I can't remember. I think it was your husband, Forrest, who told me the story of someone who had worked for the company that he works for, Bell or whatever. But
well, we're not going to say their name because
not until they would. Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
But anyway, that's right, Bell. We're coming. No, I'm pretty sure it was Forrest. Yeah, that told me the story of someone who had worked for the company for a very long time who was so emotionally passionate about the work that they had done throughout their life and that they had worked at this company and that they felt like that was a good thing. And the way it struck me was that it's hard for any of us to figure out our purpose in life most of the time or the meaning of all of this stuff. And as CEOs and as entrepreneurs, which our show is actually about entrepreneurship, you know, generally speaking, as entrepreneurs, we're always trying to build something new. And then you wonder, you get like, you pull in people who you think are going to help you build this thing, and then sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, and
Right.
you're like, what's the difference between me and you? And it's like the entrepreneur says, like, I'll do anything to make this work.
Exactly.
I am fostering, I'll feed and water this thing. I promise I will never give up on it. We planted the seed and I'm doing it. And then some people, no offense, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. It's okay. Or a business owner. But that's not their life. But then they come and work for you and they make your effort, your plant, your seed, your whatever, your tree that you're trying to grow, your entrepreneurial endeavor, they make it their life.
Yeah, that's funny. Last night I was at an event. Let me just do a little plug for them.
Yeah.
Ready, Set, Pivot. Wendy Wiseman has this event where she helps women get to their next thing.
Yeah.
Or even recognize the thing they're doing is exactly what they want. But really just creating community so that we help each other.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Erin, and Erin works for Kristen Nordling. She owns a company called Lakeside
God, I
HR.
feel like I know the name.
Yeah, great people. I'm a big fan of Kristen and Erin too. And Erin was saying, I'm the type of person that goes into a company and just wraps myself around that mission. Like she goes, I can't be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to be that. But what I want to be is an entrepreneur's biggest asset.
Yeah, like they're huge champion.
Yeah, and if I'm on the street working for that company, I want to hear that Erin's working for that company.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's just it's like a 180 almost from the way I think. You know, like the organizations I've worked for, and it's been very few. I've had very few jobs for other people. Like, I like them and I respect them until the moment where I feel like I'm not respected by them. And then I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing here? Like, here I am feeling all passionate about.
Now I feel silly.
Now I feel silly because
exactly. Now I feel stupid.
Why did I put so much work into this? You don't even care about me.
I just feel stupid now.
Yeah.
I'm such
No
an
one likes
idiot.
that.
I'm a gullible idiot.
Yes, that's right. And so, you know, as we delve into this internal communications thing, for me, it really is, it's about the like enabling people to feel that passion about what you're doing and to be honored for it, really, like, because they are going to do it. There are people out there who will absolutely fold themselves in, wrap their arms around your idea and your company, and all they really want in return is the best work-life balance they can get, all of that stuff. You know, they want to get paid, they want good benefits. That's fair. That's like a fair payment back to them for doing that.
Exactly.
But then you also, in order to, like, it's such a fragile balance, you still have to honor them as people.
You have to honor them.
Pay
as
is not
people.
honor. You know, like, it's not the same. There are jobs you like, no one wants them, even though they're super highly paid, because I'm not going to be respected.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And if there's a huge dichotomy between the values and the mission of the company, between the way you're being treated.
Yeah, then it's
and
like,
it might be just up to one individual person, or it might be a misogynistic comment by someone, or it might be, you know,
the whole thing can sour on that one little thing.
The whole thing can sour on that one person.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that person knows that they have that
like
kind
how
of power.
deeply important that is.
Yeah.
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 Well, and a good lesson there is, like, if you're going to be entrepreneurial, like if you're going to start something, and to be fair, most entrepreneurs I know are kind of like this. Like, they do have some real stake in all of it, and they really want people they're passionate about their work and the thing they're creating, and they want people to be good. I think you fail almost immediately if you don't do that stuff. Like,
It's true.
You know, I mean, how many businesses get started and fail? I think one of the key indicators is, does this person care about other people?
Yes.
Like, it's super ultra important. I don't know.
It is super, and especially now today.
Yeah.
It's especially now today when we are so.
I got misty.
I know,
when
I saw that. I saw that.
I can't help it. I'm an emotional man.
Oh my God.
I really am. No, you have to care about people. Like you can't.
You really do.
The few people I've met, unless you're sort of maybe a sociopath or something, like because I have met people who are like, I am 100% in this. You can tell they don't care about anyone, and all they want to do is make money.
Yeah.
And they will get a little army behind them too.
Yep.
But that little army scares the shit out of me because it's like, well, I don't trust any of you people. Like you're all out for blood. You know, like the really, really good companies that I admire and that seem to last, they're built by people who are passionate and compassionate at the same time. So
I agree. Well, anyway, so
yeah.
I don't want you to cry too much.
Oh, don't worry. I'll come up with something
But
else.
I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to see how that's going to evolve and how companies will use that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know, olden days we used to do blogs and newsletters and, you know,
Doesn't cut
the
it.
newsletter and it would highlight someone's family and the new employee.
Right. It's all the same stuff.
It's all the same stuff, but it's like
It's got to be in a different package.
it's in the format that everyone's looking at now, right? Like a newsletter that comes in the email. Like how many emails did that person get
I'll
that
tell
day?
you.
And it's like, oh, okay, I'll scan that.
No one under 35 is reading it.
Do you really?
I'll tell you that. Yeah, I mean, if you're relying...
Yeah, that's true. I have overheard conversations where they're like, what was in the newsletter? And it's like, you read the fucking newsletter?
It's only us old people. We're leaving voicemails on their answering machines, too. We're like, hey, 28-year-old, I'm just leaving you a message because it doesn't look like you read the newsletter yet. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No.
That's funny.
Yeah, they communicate differently.
They do.
We'll say that.
And that's okay. I think we're
Totally.
learning from that. You
Totally
know,
okay.
it's you know, back when we were younger, it was a knowledge base.
We were doing something equally frustrating to people 40 years our senior.
For sure.
You know, like it's just what it is.
I think we were at the cusp. I've been seeing a lot of this. Are you Gen X? Yeah, you're Gen X.
Yeah,
I am
I'm solidly
Gen
X, yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of socials on the socials.
Yeah.
I know that's
well, they have algorithms and stuff.
But yeah,
I call
I know.
it the socials. That's fair.
I've been so it makes sense that it's an algorithm and I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other generations talking about Gen X.
Finally.
Right? Exactly. And they're like, don't wake up, Gen X.
They're going to get
They're
pissed
going
off.
to rip your fucking head off.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It's like, don't they? These are the, and they use examples that are hilarious. They're like, these are the ones that their parents just sent them out
Oh, yeah, it's true.
and said, go figure it out and come back for dinner. And, you know, these are the ones that
100%
was like,
true.
Did anyone drive me to a sport? No. If
I mean,
I was unable.
you
if
still
I
had
didn't
to
stay after
crank the
school-
telephone to make it work.
Exactly.
No,
No,
not
I'm
really.
not that old.
No, I know, me either. But there were still rotary dial phones when, and I mean, the generation before us, like phones were a novelty. For us, I'm saying anyone born in just shortly after our generation is like, oh no, you have a phone in your pocket. You just communicate.
Yeah,
Mom
they do
wants
that.
to
They
know.
do that thing too. Like they'll have people from different generations
Yeah.
on the other, and they'll say, "How would you signal picking up a phone?" And Gen Xers are like,
Yeah.
and everyone else is like,
Well, I'd unwind the cord
fingers.
first.
Yeah, old people. I didn't say it. Older people are putting their fingers up, and everyone else is putting a hand up to their, and then
Oh, I get it. Yeah,
you
yeah.
get it, and then
yeah.
it was like, okay, you're in the car, roll down your window. What do you do?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I'm still frustrated by the fact that cars don't have manual controls on certain things because, like, if I ever have to drive my wife's car, I have to get in. She's much smaller than me, so I have to get in and I have to push the little button and move the seat back. But on the passenger side, you just reach under there and go kink, and the thing just flies back. I'm like, is it really that much easier and more convenient to sit and I don't think so.
Well, there's more buttons for different angles, and you can like.
You could make those same
You can do
adjustments
your
manually.
lumbar support,
It was
you know.
fun. I know people love it. Well, your
Oh my
car
God, you're sounding old.
your car like talks to you. Your car's like, welcome. It puts
does.
little arms around you. Did you need a hug today, Juliet? Don't worry, I'm here.
That's basically what it says.
Yeah.
I am here to be your personal assistant. It says to
What
me,
can I do for you?
Would you like to set me up further? And I'm like, I do, but now I'm just got in the car and now I have to go somewhere. So every time I get in my
Juliet,
car,
I haven't
it
seen
says
you very-
the same thing. Hi, Juliet. I am your personal assistant.
It's
Would you
gonna
like
get,
to set me up? I'm like, yeah, I do, but now I have to go somewhere.
It's gonna get all it's gonna get all jealous. It's that's not Close Encounters. What's the 2001: A Space Odyssey? Not everybody's favorite movie.
Is it Hal?
Yeah, and I watched it again not too long ago because it was
Because it was the year, wasn't it? Wasn't it like 2021 was the future?
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe, yeah. But it was so incredibly revolutionary at the time. But I made my 2 teenage boys watch it, and they're like, "Dad, that was pretty dull." I'm like, I know, but it was made in like 1970 or 72 or something. Like, it looked real in a way that no other movies did until like Star Wars and stuff in the late 70s came along, stuff like that. Anyway, and Star Wars didn't even look that real. But anyway, yes, your car is going to be like, Juliet, why have you not been?
Why haven't you set me up yet, Juliet?
Why? Where have you been lately? It's been a week since you drove me anywhere.
And it'll be jealous of like CarPlay because CarPlay can see like you can choose between the BMW personal assistant and CarPlay, and it's like I always push the CarPlay button, and I actually do feel a little bad. I don't use the car's internal systems.
Of course you do. You'll be looking out the windshield, and it'll be like, I used my little eye scanner. Were you looking at a 2025 model?
It does do that thing. Like when you put it on, when you put my car on auto, like whatever it's called, like cruise control.
Yeah.
Right? It has a driver's assist on it.
Yeah.
Right? So you really, it'll steer for you, and if you put the blinker on, it'll change lanes and it'll avoid other things and all of that. But you have to keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, all the warnings.
It's not like actually auto driving you. We know. Yes.
I mean, it is, but you have to have your eyes on the road.
Yep.
And so I will a lot of times drive with my hand on the top of the steering wheel.
Like,
just
you're a
because
gangster.
I'm kind of badass.
Yeah.
You know how I am.
Yeah.
And so I'll drive like that, but that blocks the eye detection on the car.
And it's like, don't do that, Julia.
It's like all the alarms go off. We've detected
I told you 10 and 2.
10 and 2, Juliet.
Oh, shit. I have no idea. Our new setup doesn't lend itself to...
knowing how long we've been talking.
No, because I'm used to watching the little thing. But I'll tell you what, I think that was a half.
Let's call it a half.
Because our
What are we going
wine's
to do
empty.
in the second half? That's fun. I think we should talk about...
fun?
Let's talk about fun things.
Oh, so the first half was what? That was all work? I don't know that was all work.
That's true. It was.
It did feel like a little, it felt a tiny bit like a plug for just us, but it's because we're just talking. We don't actually have much time as busy entrepreneurs to sit down and just talk about our own work with each other.
Let's talk about more of that.
More of that or other things in the world, yeah. Yeah. No, I've got a whole bunch of things. I think we can do this.
We've got
other things. Let's do it. Second half coming up.
All
Woo!
Right. Here you are.
Oh,
You've made it to the middle of the show. Buckle up because the second half is going to be even.
It's different. It's
very
always different. Things the little train goes off the rails or whatever. The whole bus.
It usually does. By the second half, we're relaxed.
It's coming.
Here it comes.
Yeah, I talk too much. Middle. See ya.
Bye.
Have fun.
Welcome back, second half.
Here we are.
We didn't really move anywhere.
And also, we didn't really explain why it's just you and I today.
Oh no, we probably
We're
could have
just
started
taking a
off with
break,
that.
because we've done, I don't know how many episodes, 10?
No.
12?
Yeah, like we've done like 15.
Like 15?
Yeah.
So it was time we come back.
So if you're already a fan of the show, thank you, by the way. Very much appreciated. I hear we're getting big in the Philippines. It's true. That's what I hear. Rennie.
Really?
So when I mention Rennie, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to like. I don't mind making, a little side path and then coming back, but we got to come back to the thing. So why are we here alone? Yes, we've got 15 episodes. If you're a fan of the show, thank you for tuning in or watching or whatever you do. Tuning in. See, that's I am old. I found you on the old dial. No, that's not the way it works.
So what do we say nowadays?
That's what we say.
Tuning in, don't we?
The kids don't listening to our podcast. They don't even know. They're like, what does that even mean? Like
tuning in.
Yeah, because the old radios, you have to tune it in. No one does that.
That is so
anyway,
funny.
We understand it. Yeah. But no, so I mean the actual purpose to this kind of somewhat silly sometimes show is to give you real life lessons in entrepreneurship. That's what we're here for, and we do it. And we are 15 episodes in. I'll tell you, we started this really rapidly. We were like, we met. Month later, we got a new office. Month after that, we got a new show. That's a little bit of a lesson in entrepreneurship itself. And we threw it out there knowing it's not perfect. When we go back 5 years from now and look at our first 10 shows.
It'll be looking at our second grade picture.
Yes.
It'll be so cute.
Our hair's all mussed up. Our little outfit has ketchup stain on it. And we're like,
Hi.
That's okay.
It should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I really think a lot of people, and maybe that's one of the differentiators between people who eventually become entrepreneurs and those who don't, is like, they think they have to have every single duck in a row or whatever you say, like every single thing done and ready and documented. And that's a fine way to start things. But the problem you run into is, and we did talk about this.
I know what you're going to say.
Was it Stacy Kupski?
Yeah, it's like when things go off the rails.
It's really
and it's
alarming.
going to go off the rails.
Yes, but if you're like, I am a planner and I got it all written out.
I've got this all figured out.
Everything's figured out. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Like, oh yeah, it can. It for sure can, and it will.
Exactly. I mean, so the current business that I have, my other current business, Avidage, that just recently had a little blip, and so it was a kind of a major blip, and
it was at the time.
It was at the time.
I mean, it turned out to be.
Thing.
Like, look at you now, a month or two later, everything's okay.
Everything's okay. Everything's really good.
Yeah.
The future is bright. We've got great clients. We have it's like, at the time though, things could have gone either way. If I was not somebody who has, can I tell the Polywog story?
I don't know.
If I was not somebody who
we say all sorts of weird shit.
I'm going to talk about polywogs now.
Okay, let's do it.
And you think it's a departure, like our usual departures, but this one.
No, I think you've got a story.
This is a good one. It was years ago.
Are you going to explain? I mean, are you going to explain what a polywog is through the story? Okay. Good.
Yeah. Yep. So years ago, I had another company with a partner called Future IQ Partners, which is still going on, and I'm sure they're doing great work.
Future IQ Partners?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's an international company. I was on the road for 60% of my time. I missed my family and I needed to step out. But I loved it and we did some amazing things.
Yep. Okay.
But one of the people that I met down in Iowa, oh my gosh, I'm just so sad right now I'm not pulling up her name because she was, and still is, she's alive and well in Iowa.
Okay, good.
Such a visionary. I learned so much from her. But one of the things, I know she heard it from someone else and then shared it with me and was dedicated, and she hasn't done it, to writing about the polywog. And the reason is that it's about change, right? Things are never going to stay the same, no matter what you do. In fact, if you want things to stay the same.
I think I get where this is going. I like it. Yeah, I'm kind of following.
If you want things to stay the same, you have to change. because the environment around you is going to change. So if you want things to stay in that realm,
I get it. I mean, I could never frame it that way in my own mind.
Yeah. So
like things are always going to change. Like
it's just
it
to
is
say,
the only thing
change
that
is
is
a
certain.
given.
That and death and taxes and
change.
Yep.
And
Anyway.
those are all changes.
Yep.
So polywog. So the polywog story that was told to me and that I repeat many times and I use in my own life is a polywog is the interim state of a frog.
Tadpole.
So like you start as a tadpole, you go to a polywog, and then you go to a frog. And the way it goes like this, like tadpole, you learn how to survive, right? You're new in this world.
Oh man, you
learn
thinking
how to
you got it all down.
You can swim to get your food, and you breathe water, and you got a little tail, and you're kind of fishy, but you're not quite fishy, so you're not really adept, but you kind of figure it out, right?
Yep.
You're like, you've survived, you're eating, and you know that you're going to become a frog.
Yep.
Right? And so you start to grow up a little. You start to mature. You get some legs on you. And then you start to breathe air and you become a polywog. And guess what happens in a polywog state? Everything you knew as a tadpole no longer works.
I mean, this is like puberty hits.
Totally.
You're like, I thought I was just a kid and everything was okay,
Yeah.
and now weird crap is happening.
Weird crap is happening. And with a polywog, it's like, major functions, like breathing water and air.
Yeah,
It's like major things and nothing feels right.
Right.
Because you're not quite a frog.
Nope.
And you're not a tadpole
Still got that
anymore.
weird
so everything
tail.
you ever decided, everything you ever did no longer works
Yep.
in this state of change.
And you feel out of sorts.
You feel like you're falling apart.
Yep.
You feel like nothing is
Because
right.
things are actually falling off you every now and again.
Well, there's
Limbs
that-
and stuff.
I
yeah.
think they do.
Or growing.
I
No,
think
the
they're
tail falls
growing.
off.
I think the tail just becomes a little stub, right? Or
Well,
something?
but it
Falls off.
It does.
Okay.
And the legs grow out where there weren't legs, and the tail falls off eventually.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly. So
Weird.
The whole
Weird.
physicality.
Yeah.
And everything. So you are in this state of change and it feels like everything is wrong. And then because you're not quite that frog yet. And then you somehow mature into this frog, right? And how do you do it? It's because you have to know you're a polywog. Most of us don't know we're in change. And most of us don't know what that change means. We don't know like how to act in change. We don't know what to do when everything is falling apart, when you have to reinvest in your company, or you have to, you lose your major client, or you have COVID happens and you have to lay everybody off, or whatever it is, or
all
a
the
major
stuff.
tornado takes out your warehouse, whatever it is, or you get a divorce, or someone close to you dies, right?
All these things.
All these things, right? Like you don't feel stable. And so many times what we do in that chaos and that change is we quit. Because nothing's working anymore. And that is the worst thing to do, because you're in the midst of change in becoming the thing that you've been trying to become.
Yes, I completely.
And if we only understood that more, it's like, wait a second, I'm okay. I'm a polywog right now.
These are more entrepreneurial lessons. I totally get it.
Don't you?
I do. And there's two things that came out of that. First of all, we need to make a t-shirt that says, like, fuck off, I'm a polywog. Like,
Be kind. How about be kind?
no, fuck off, I'm a polywog. Like, I don't even know what's happening. Everything's changing. Just leave me alone.
Don't even ask me a question.
Yeah,
don't ask me how I am.
I'm in the midst
I'm a
of some really
polywog.
weird change. I used to breathe water. Now they're telling me I gotta breathe air.
Exactly.
Yes.
Fuck off, I'm a polywog.
Yeah, that's one.
I'm a polywog
God,
right
what was
now.
the other thing? The other was, if the transition from tadpole to frog through the polywog stage is so incredibly uncomfortable for someone, to quit means to go back to being a tadpole, basically. Like, it's not like you give up and die, but it's okay. I know what you're saying.
You don't actually go back.
No,
you
but
actually cannot go back, because you've already become a polywog.
I know, but the thing is that, like, I feel like another weird entrepreneurial lesson that some people need to understand is that, like, you've given it a go and it doesn't work for you. You might not be that.
You're not that.
And
right?
that's okay.
And
but
it's
for
hard
some
to
people,
handle change.
But for some people, they give it a go, it doesn't work, and they're like, I'm gonna give it a go again. And then I'm gonna give it a go again. And that's the, like, don't be afraid to fail, which it should be something. But
Those
also
of us that are what is it called? When you don't care if you get hurt.
Self-emulating.
Like, bring it on. Bring it on. Is that all you got?
like, isn't that self-emulation when like people burn themselves or whatever? Anyway.
I don't know, but
I
that's
think
not
so.
what I was
could be wrong. I could be wrong. Well, they do it in protests.
But I mean, it's like some people are just fine with it. Like,
Sure.
I'm actually fine with it, even though I know I'm a pollywog and I'm in the middle of change.
Right.
I know that change is uncomfortable. And when I was
have you been a pollywog more than once in your life?
like in cycles, right?
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
have, right?
Right.
I remember.
When do you ever get to be a frog?
Well, you cycle to a frog and then back to a tadpole and then to a pollywog
Okay.
and then a frog. It
That's
depends
kind
on what
of the
you're
point
doing.
I'm trying to make.
It's a whole thing.
You have to be comfortable with the whole, like, repeating the same uncomfortable cycle.
You just have
over
to
and
know
over.
where you are in the cycle.
Okay,
Like, are you a
gotcha.
baby and you're just learning how to
Gotcha.
breathe underwater? Are you now growing into a
Gotcha.
pollywog?
Yep.
And then you become a frog. And then you have a tadpole.
Well,
and then
and-
you become a pollywog.
And so there's part of the lesson, like, if you're more entrepreneurial minded, go ahead, go through the process over and over and over, and you'll see that, like, you'll get more comfortable with the fact that you're in constant change, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not, it's okay to say, I'm going to go wrap my arms around this other company and I'm going to give them everything I've got.
That's
because
right. You
what I
learn
am
something
is,
about
I'm the
yourself.
water.
Exactly.
I'm the water, and I'm just going to help the frog in general. Like,
exactly. And it was, I remember several phrases come to mind that reinforce it or that have been good guidances in be patient with change.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my chiropractor had a little sign on her wall that says something to the effect, if it feels like everything's falling apart, let it.
yeah.
Because it needs to fall apart.
I
to
love it when
become who
people
you're
say
becoming.
these things because it makes so much sense.
It does.
And then in the
Just
moment
let it
you're
fall
like,
apart.
screw off. I can't just let it all fall. Like, it's so hard to do. Yeah.
Let it fall. It feels like everything's falling apart. It has to fall apart so it can come back together in the way that you want. You can't have that next
But
thing.
let's as friends.
Stop interrupting me.
Oh, sorry. No,
You can't have that next thing
yeah.
in the same mind frame before you decided to have it.
Okay, but
So you-
I'll go back to. Yeah. Are you done?
I'm gonna beat you up.
Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
are. I know you are. But let's, as friends, let's, no specifics whatsoever. But let's say if I were to watch you go through a moment where things seem to be falling apart, is the true self, your true self, going to be able to recognize that you need to let the thing fall apart at the time, or are you going to somewhat fall apart yourself?
It's almost like, in a sense, and I know what you're referring to. It's
yeah,
a
I'm just-
recent event where it seemed like I was falling apart. But it's like I knew I would have to feel that.
That's what I'm getting
And
at.
that you have to feel it. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel it.
I knew you weren't going to fall apart, and I knew you weren't going to fall apart.
Right.
But I feel like it's sort of one of these things that people with good advice, they like to give the advice, and then it sounds so fucking smart in the moment. It's like, let yourself fall apart, right? But then
Yeah.
when you're actually doing it, you're like, I don't want to fall apart.
I'm hanging on by my fingernails.
Yeah, this is hard. It's all really hard, And I
I'm
feel
not letting go.
yeah, I feel like
It reminds me of that jumping out of an airplane thing. Did I talk about that before?
No, I
I
don't
may
know.
have. But there's this video. I was about to do it, my first skydive.
okay.
So I started watching videos on skydiving,
Yeah.
which turned out to be
Like the wrong thing to do?
kind of helpful, but
Okay.
mostly scary. Because
Okay.
the only videos that rise to the top about skydiving are the ones that
Where shit
when
goes
things
wrong.
have gone wrong. So there was an older lady who was like 70,
Oh, no.
right? Who decided she wanted to go skydiving.
Totally.
And everything. She's in tandem with someone, right? And they told me the same thing. Is the worst thing you can do is like grab at the last second because you're freaking out about jumping out of the plane to grab the plane.
Of course,
right? Of course, like the frame of the plane.
Yeah,
opening.
no.
And but speaking from experience, you kind of want to do that.
I know.
You're never going to be ready, and the tandem person is really kind of meant to kind of shove you a little, like bunk.
You have
bunk
to.
you right out,
Yeah.
right? But what she did is she lost her nerve at the last minute.
Yes.
Grabbed the frame so hard. The 70-year-old woman grabbed the frame so far that she turned herself inside out as they fell out of the plane, and she was upside down to the tandem person.
Like turn the harness inside out.
Yeah, so she was like head to toe with this.
You said turned herself inside out. I'm like, are you telling me there's like some sort of weird snuff video where this old lady is like,
her guts exploded.
Oh my God.
No, that did not happen.
Okay, that lady's
but
strong.
But she turned herself inside out
she turned the harness inside. Not herself. Herself is different than the harness.
Okay, whatever.
I get it. There's some clarity I needed there.
If you can find an image of that, just put it.
Of an old lady turning inside out skydiving.
Yeah,
whatever.
That'd be funny.
Don't do anything bad, AJ.
Anyway, so it was like I had seen that of that poor woman who
So you had a vision of what you were maybe going to do.
Yeah. So then when I got to the opening, I was like, don't grab it.
But it almost makes it worse, right? It almost
like you just like want to grab it.
I totally get it. Oh God, I went and saw my little sister in a play years and years and years ago. She's a very talented actress, and she, in her youth when she acted, and she was always in these plays, and she was always doing great and recognized for it. But she warned me that it was like a really small venue, like super intimate. And she said something along the lines of, "Don't embarrass me. Don't do anything to embarrass me." And I swear I sat there for like an hour and a half, and I had to fight with one part of my brain that was like, you got to get up and say something. Like, if she had never said a thing, it wouldn't have been me wrestling in there.
You wouldn't have thought to do that.
I wouldn't have thought,
No.
but the whole time I was like, go give your sister a hug. Go, get up and love you, Telsha.
You're doing great.
You're the best.
Don't be nervous.
Why did she have to say that?
That's right.
Yeah, so you watching those videos gave you the same kind of thing.
Exactly. I don't know why I brought that up, but it'll come back.
I don't know. It's very
Everyone else can
entrepreneurial.
put the pieces together.
It's very.
Were you ever an actor? Did you ever do any acting?
No, I'm perfectly comfortable in general, like on a stage talking to people. If like, oh God, that's too much information for you here because you're going to use this against me someday.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you well enough already to know you're going to do that. If there's an event and like the groomsman collapses in the corner and gets hauled off in a wedding, we're saying here, in an ambulance or something, like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We need someone to give a speech. I'm like, I'm in. And I'll get up there. Well, everyone.
So it says to the guys,
let's think about no, I can't tell jokes. I can't tell jokes, but I can be like, there's a thing about weddings and the reason we're all here. And by the end of it, everyone's like, woohoo, yeah, that was good. And then I walk off and I'm like, give me a scotch. I can do that. But then they're like, dance floor is open. I'm like, out the back door.
Really?
Oh yeah, I can't.
Can't bust a move?
I can't. I can't even clap in rhythm.
That's true.
Once.
You can't, actually.
No,
That's true.
I can't. And so I'm standing there and I'm watching everyone else, and they're always eyeballing you with their dance eyes, like, get up here. I don't know what. And I'm like, why are you doing that? That's so weird. It makes me so uncomfortable. You get it?
I don't. I'm a really good dancer.
I know. And whether you are or not, you don't care.
I don't care.
No, you just do it, and you're doing the thing. And I'm always like, why is my body trying to do this and it doesn't work? It's hyper upper Midwestern that way.
I mean, I'm especially a good 80s dancer.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I mean, my wife for years, she's like, what do we have to do about this? Like, what can we possibly do to fix this dancing issue?
I mean, you can't even dance at a wedding. That's like sad.
I try. You
can do a slow dance, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And I can dance, and I can and will dance with my daughter. Like, I don't care when I'm with her. Nothing, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I think someday, I've thought about this. I think hypnotism would work for this. I think if I could be hypnotized, I could tell them, I only want one thing out of this hypnosis. Yeah. One thing out of this hypnosis.
As your business partner, can I show up and just like throw a few
Don't throw the other things in there. Like every time you hear Thurgood Marshall, you dance like a chicken or so cluck like a chicken. Like, no, I don't want that shit. And then you're like, watch this, Thurgood Marshall. And I'm like, cluck, 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 cluck. No, I don't want that. That's stupid.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there's suggestive things that can kind of get thrown in there, right? All I want is...
You can't do anything against your will.
All I want... I could just see me at an event. You're like, Thurgood Marshall. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm going to cluck. I can't help myself. I just have to do it. That'd be so stupid.
Have you ever been hypnotized?
No, and I'm not even sure I could be because I'm like pretty linear in my thinking in certain ways. Like I've seen other people get hypnotized.
I've tried so many times, like with professional
hypnotists.
And
you can't be.
Can't be. I'm afraid I don't seem someone that's all ego, do I? Don't answer that. But I do feel like
you do have a pretty strong ego, yeah.
I have a strong will, I guess.
Self-preservation in a certain way.
I was voluntarily in the hypnotist therapy office.
Can you meditate?
For a few seconds.
So I did guided meditation, and it took me a long while, like many times. But finally one day I'm like, holy shit, I was in a different place, like. No,
I've done that. I really have. I've been to places that teach you meditation. I've done that. I'm not great at it, but I can pull myself back in. That's the whole point of meditation, where you if you wander, you just come back, right? And the more you do that, the more you work that muscle.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
But the hypnotist, I could not let myself go.
I think that's the problem I would have. And if I could, I could probably dance. Like if I could be hypnotized, I could probably dance. Like those two things sort of go hand in hand.
Well,
maybe.
A little bit. I mean, you just might have a paradigm. If someone said you were a terrible dancer when you were like 13, and it stayed with you.
I mean, I'm not alone in this. There are other people who hate to dance, but I seriously I look out there, and every single one of you on the dance floor is like.
We have an audio podcast.
I'm like, oh my God, we got a video?
Okay, well, you're going to have to go to the video to see that.
Oh, they're pointing at you with those eyes, looking at you like, get out here. I would just like the hypnotist to say, be unafraid of dancing. It's okay.
That's interesting.
That's the one.
What would I say? Let me think about that.
I have almost nothing I'm afraid of other than that. Not true. I'm sure there's a lot of other things, but not that I can point out.
I think, and now I'm really being vulnerable here. I think my biggest personal flaw is I take responsibility for everything around me.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough as a business owner too.
Yeah, right. And I mean, just that I feel like whatever it is that has happening or has happened, not the good stuff, mind you, but all the things, all the hiccups in that, I'm constantly reviewing what I could have done differently.
I mean, some portion of that, the constant reviewing portion, some of that's anxiety.
Yeah.
Right. And the other side, I would say, of that is that that is wildly unappreciated by other people.
I know that.
Like no one, for the most part, people don't care that you're taking ownership of the way things went.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it for chivalry. I'm doing it because I truly think I'm responsible for it.
I get that.
It's not a chivalry thing.
Well,
I'm not saying it's okay, I should have been better. That's not the point. The point is that I'm doing it because I feel like
you're doing it internally.
I'm doing it internally, yeah. And so that would be, if I went to a hypnotist, that would be the kind of thing I want to intervene in.
And what I'm saying,
because I know that what you think about, you get, right? And so the more I'm thinking I'm responsible for something, right?
Yes.
The more then it's a domino effect. Then I know I'm thinking this.
I totally get it.
I'm thinking this negative thing. I'm going to create it, and now I'm doing that wrong.
I got to stop doing this.
Doing that
oh
wrong.
My God, that anxious cycle is so shitty.
Yeah.
And what I say when I mean that other people don't care, it's like writing 1,000 books that literally no one in the world will ever read or give a shit about. It's not that they don't. There's a big difference between taking ownership of the things that you've done wrong. Some people do actually care about that. Anyone harmed by the thing that was wrong, they care that you take ownership of it. Mm-hmm. Feeling responsible for things that actually everyone's already walked away and they don't give a shit and no one cares. Like no one's looking for who's responsible.
Oh, I'm certainly, if no one cares, I'm certainly don't care about that.
But who cares about most anything?
I'm not justifying it. You don't have to argue against it.
No, I'm not trying to argue. I'm trying to give you the ability to somewhat release that because what I'm saying is that it's like that there's an old saying that like a rocking chair will give you something to do but never get you anywhere or something. Like it's
the thing is that I think ultimately self-responsibility is really important. And to know that your destiny is driven by you is very important, right?
Totally.
I think where I go off the rails is I feel responsible that, and it's going to even sound ridiculous coming out, right? Mm-hmm. I feel responsible that I was not able to do something for someone before they went off the rails. Right. And I could see the signs that something was happening.
Can't fix that.
But I couldn't. Yeah. So I can't fix that.
Can't fix it.
But I take full. I'm like, well, that's true. I can't change what they did. But I'll think to myself, if I had done these 5 things, then it would have been different. And it's not. You're right.
I know.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
And part of the reason
I would if I were to be able to go and ask for one thing, it wouldn't be so I could dance because, as I mentioned, I'm a really good dancer.
No, I know. Yeah. I mean, you're in it.
Yeah.
You're dancing.
Yeah, I'm dancing.
Yep.
And then it would be that. It would be like,
I get it.
Fucking take responsibility for your own future, but you don't have responsibility for everybody else's.
Well, it's like overly empathetic or something because
I don't know. It's not even empathy. It's like
guilt. Whatever.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know either because
neither of us are qualified to make that.
No.
But
I mean, it's one thing to take ownership of and responsibility for the things that you've done wrong that maybe harm someone. And I know you have the ability to do that and you can go back.
For sure.
Yeah. But it's a whole nother thing to to chastise yourself for this thing that is probably not terribly consequential and no one actually thought it was your responsibility to take care of it or fix it or whatever. Anyway,
us Gen Xers, going back to that, it was like, the first people that are, through our lives, people pointed us back to was, what happened in your childhood.
Oh yeah.
Like you go back and it's like, well, my parents did this, or my dad did that, or my family did this, or whatever it was, right? Nowadays, the young ones don't think that at all, because I've often said to my daughter, I'm like, ooh, that may have been my doing that you do that.
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah.
And she'll be like, stop saying that, because
you
didn't do anything wrong.
Nothing?
Yes, she said I didn't do anything wrong. I have it on paper.
You can dance, and you were the best mother in the world?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't a perfect mother. But she's like, it's not you.
I just like
what I'm dealing with is not you. You did not do this.
Totally right.
Right.
On her part. Yep.
Yeah.
So she recognizes in you this desire to
I don't know if she recognizes it or it's like a trend in the younger groups.
Oh, who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? Speaking of trends, as we wrap this show up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're definitely in wrap-up mode here.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to check time-wise.
What's the trend you want to talk about?
Well, the trend I want to talk about is the sort of global cult that we joined. That we joined late, like we came to it later than a lot of other people. This whole VA thing.
Let's talk about that. We're going to talk
Isn't it
about
weird?
Rennie. You didn't even explain Rennie
Or AJ.
or AJ.
Like, who are we talking
We're talking to AJ.
to and about when we talk about Rennie and AJ? And I want to take on this part of this show. It's at the tail end of a very chaotic, the two of us on a couch catching up show, which is great. But I want to take this seriously enough that you can take what we're saying. This is not an advertisement for something. This is not a sales pitch. This is just reality. We were introduced by a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
Lisa Wickman.
Lisa Wickman.
We really like her. She's great. We were introduced to something that has been around for a long time. I've known about it.
We've all heard about it.
Tim Ferriss with the 4-hour.
I know you said that. I'd read that book. I don't remember that part, but I know that he talked about lots of VAs.
I think he did. Yeah. And I remember my brother-in-law mentioned it years ago. Like, you can use, I think it was my brother-in-law anyway, maybe not, but you can use some virtual assistant in another country to help you, to help alleviate some of the pressure on you as a business owner, to help build your business, to get work done. And there's something about it that seemed exploitative.
It did seem that.
To me.
It did.
It seemed
To me
like two things: exploitative and far too much work to get to something that I just felt was going to fail. Like, it's going to fail because I don't have the time, and then I'm going to wish I had trained this person, and they're going to feel bad, and it's like another person that I can't quite meet the expectations of or something, and then were they bad or was it me? So I just avoided it forever.
But what we learned, and the story that we learned from Lisa, and she has been talking about her VA from the Philippines through a company called Sphere Rocket.
Oh wow, I'm cool with it.
Let's just mention it.
I'll go into Sphere Rocket.
She has been transformed. Her business has been transformed by having this VA helping her.
Yeah.
And thinking forward and being a part of it. But and that's true for any VA, whether it's stateside or across the world, right?
Yep,
it's just an incredible assistance for you to not do the things that take the time for you, so that you could be doing selling or you could be doing whatever you do in your business.
It was such a hard leap.
But
anyway.
the story was that
her
VA was able, on a very low hourly payment, was able to purchase a house in the Philippines.
Oh, right.
And it's almost unheard of that happens at that age in their 20s.
Well, I mean, you've traveled the world. I lived in Azerbaijan, like I've been to places where $1 American is something very different to them. So I get that. I don't fully understand how the kind of macroeconomics of the world work, like how in a country where $100 or $200 or $300 a month is a really good salary, how they can live on that, and then but there's also like a $5 coffee at the hotel we're at. Like, I don't understand how all of that
I don't think they're paying $5 for coffee.
No, but for sure. Rennie was telling me that like Starbucks exists in her hometown, and it's $5 a coffee if you want it, even though an hourly.
Rennie.
But
do you pay $5 for a coffee?
No, because the locals know how to avoid the places that charge the Western prices, right? So my point is, I don't want to feel like it, like making the kind of money that Americans make is because we have to make that because our inflationary dollar value level thing is up here, and so you take that.
We couldn't literally live in a encampment on $300 a month.
No, I know. But
you know what I mean?
But that's the part of it, like how one country's dollar value or economy actually works is not really the big thing for me. When it came to this whole VA thing, like, I get it. If the wage we're willing to pay, it's like the exploitative part of it was...
It's not even willing, it's like able.
Yeah, the exploitative part of it would have been like if we were, and this is sort of the impression I got as a business owner, was like, you've got an American's going to get paid $30 an hour for this, but you can hire this out to someone else, and you only have to pay them $5 an hour for it, and are they going to be okay on that? And it's like, having talked now with both Rennie and AJ, like, well, that's a better wage than they're making if they go and work at a different place, right?
There's not a lot of people who will do what we're stateside. We don't have enough people here that will do that kind of work.
And as long as the transaction is fair, as long as the thing works, and you hire the right person and they're doing a good job, well, then you've got the other side of it, which is this person actually going to do the work?
I also like the global.
Now I like it too. It turns out we've got some really great people that work for us.
Oh my God, they're amazing. I like the global aspect. Like, I'm learning about.
I know, and the kids are like, "You rolling down the windows still over there, or are you gonna hire me as a virtual assistant?"
Exactly. It's made me more aware, right? And more globally minded, I guess. It's been really great.
Yeah.
We're so lucky.
Yep. I agree. And I was concerned when we did it. I was worried that, like, it felt a little bit like signing up for like a pyramid-y, culty kind of thing. And now I'm like, no, absolutely not. These are really, really talented people.
Really, really good.
Who just, they're just remote employees. That's all they are. It's like, that's the part that changed in my mind, is that it's the whole VA thing. Like, ever since the pandemic, it's just a remote employee, happens to be in a different country, awesome person, doing great work. Thank you both, AJ and Rennie. So.
Yep. That's what that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
We're so lucky.
And I would say, if this is, if this is an entrepreneurial podcast, which it is, I would recommend to people who find themselves in the position of being an entrepreneur, don't be too afraid of it. Actually look into it a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Check it out. I mean,
shoot
clearly,
us a note.
Yeah, clearly, if you have questions, you can email us. But yeah, it was something that I needlessly feared a lot in some weird way. But
it's been great.
Yep.
It's been really great. Thanks, you guys.
Yep. So anyway, there we go.
We didn't even mention the name of our podcast today, although we have our intros, outros.
I said it once at the beginning.
Anyway.
What about this idea?
Thanks for listening thanks for tuning in to What About This Idea?
I really do love that name, though. It's a good name.
It's a great name.
Yeah. What about this idea?
What about it?
That's awesome. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Don't cry. It's over.
Oh, you did it. You made it to the very end of the show. You know what you can do to help us? What can they do to help us? They can tell their friends how awesome this show is.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
You know what else? And I don't know if people know this or don't know this, but like if you found us and you see us on socials somewhere, just hit repost or share it with your community.
Share, repost, follow. Isn't there a follow option?
Yeah,
of some
follow,
kind?
Subscribe. We're not going to charge you anything.
No.
Just hit the subscribe button.
No,
It's
we
not gonna
just
hurt
need
you.
to create a community around entrepreneurism and how the real shit happens.
I like it. Well, because we're real. You said it in the intro.
Real.
We talk real. No, seriously. Tell your friends. What a great show. Oh my gosh, these people are doing the best work ever. Yeah, right?
That's what you should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just come back. Have fun with us. We love this.
We'll have someone, we'll interview someone cool next week too.
Someone completely different.
Yeah. From prison. Thanks.
We always have to have that.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.